like the What If series right now for
Hmm.
Marvel is really interesting. I just finished Loki like a few days ago,
I heard that's pretty good too.
and yeah, it's pretty good. If you're a Star Wars fan, watch The Bad Batch.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
pretty good.
I really want to
Uh,
watch that. It sounds like a really good show. Do I need to watch the Clone Wars first before Bad Batch? I know
so
it's kind of
the
related.
like you meet the Bad Batch in technically the final season. So
Hmm.
if you want to figure out like, okay, if you want pretext to the Bad Batch,
Hmm.
go to the Clone Wars, go to uh any episode in season 7
Hmm.
of 1 through 4,
Yeah.
and you'll get general like synopsis of who and what the Bad Batch is
Yeah.
while they figure out something. Like there are spoilers from like earlier seasons, I guess,
Hmm.
for certain like characters that appear in there, but it's mainly season 7 of the Clone Wars is just the end of the Clone Wars. Like
Yeah.
it ends with Order 66.
Yeah, and that's like the final, like nail in the coffin for the. How long was it war for,
The
anyways?
Republic.
How long was that? Was like from the second movie to like all the seasons of the Clone Wars itself. I'm trying to think of canonically how
Yeah,
long
it
that
was.
took. It was like a lot
Yeah,
of. That was a long time. Like,
it was Star Wars Episode 2
mm,
to episode 3, but like
episode three.
canonically, I think it was like, what was it, like 4, maybe 6 years
Yeah,
in show like years.
yeah,
I'm not like the biggest Star Wars like
yeah,
lore
yeah.
guy, but if you like for the Bad Batch at least, I
Hmm.
guess I'll go back to that. Just the first 4 episodes of season 7
Hmm.
gives you the rundown on who your characters are,
Yeah,
and then episode 1 through 16 of the Bad Batch is just what happens post, like their story post Order 66.
oh wow, that's pretty cool seeing what they're, because I think I know from like, I don't know if this is considered. I know it's like two different versions of like Star Wars lore. I think like Disney got rid of like a lot of what's called like
Yeah,
legends now. It's like canon
there's
and
yeah, Legend
legends.
is basically the non-canon
Yeah,
version of Star Wars stories.
because I know like with a lot of the clones, I think they had. I forgot which version this is. They were either there was like I don't know which one has the chip in their head or like the thing
That's
that like can.
Wars.
That's which one?
Like that's literally shown in the show. Like
Oh, okay.
later on
Right.
that they have chips in their heads.
I see. Okay, because that's all right. That's the main one. 'Cause I know there was something else that I forgot what it exactly
Well,
was, but there
if
was
you
something
play
else.
through Battlefront, like the original Star Wars Battlefront game,
Hmm.
um, like when you do the campaign, you play as soldiers from
The
uh
501st.
501st,
Yeah.
and when you do that mission on Order 66,
Yeah.
it's just something that like they're ordered to do, and they're like, all right, they're enemies of the Republic.
Oh, and then I mean, like
Like
they just
they
like,
don't. There's no chip. I don't think it's explained that it's a chip. They were just like, yeah, they're just a bunch of soldiers just following the order of the Chancellor.
wow, yeah. And it's
And
it's a bit different
it's
there,
like,
yeah.
I believe like in the thing, it's like oh, it's like it explains like their trip or whatever, and like the eyes of like the clone troopers, and it's like
Yeah.
it was a silent trip.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I remember hearing
like
about that.
if anybody had traitorous thoughts at the moment, no one said a
No
word.
one said anything.
Some
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, but in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's explained that they have an inhibitor chip, and that
Okay.
plays a decent part in the Bad Batch as well.
Listen, how do they like know about that, and like how do they like not get like affected? I didn't like
Oh,
finish it yet, but I mean I'm
yeah.
sure it's
If
like
you
shown.
watch the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
there's an episode that explains the inhibitor chips
Oh, okay. So we don't have to
to
like
the
talk about it
audience,
here, but
like
yeah.
what it is, and stuff like that, like in its true plan.
Okay. So
Um,
I see. Okay.
and then the Bad Batch sort of plays with that, like
Yeah.
what the inhibitor chip does to them because they're technically genetically altered
Yeah.
from the base DNA. So, like, why? Like, how would the chip? Like, the thing is, like, how would the chips affect them? and then the first episode sort of tells you this is how it would affect them,
Mm-hmm.
and then how and like you find out like the reason why one of the characters in the Clone Wars, Rex,
Mm-hmm.
isn't affected by the chip anymore at the end of season 7.
Yeah.
Um,
'Cause I was curious about that. I watched a bit in the beginning of the Clone Wars, but I didn't get to that part. But I did hear about that when I was watching a few YouTube videos on just like Star Wars related content. I was like, oh, interesting. Like with a, with a Bad Batch, how does that work? And I'm like, oh, okay. It's good that they like let that, I'm sure they had to let the audience know, but I'm glad that it's shown or explained,
yeah.
moving forward. That's really interesting. Another reason why I want to get into it. I fear that like I don't want to miss anything in the original show before I move on to the Bad Batch. But at least
Well,
that
the
last
Bad
season
Batch,
is like, yeah, the last season of Clone Wars kind of helps with that.
the Bad Batch pretty much brings back they like the characters that come back are very like oh well Rex comes back in the Bad
Yeah,
Batch
everybody
for like
loves Rex.
I think he comes back for like 1 to 2 episodes. He
Hmm.
cameo like he's in. And then one character from I don't know what episode of the Clone Wars, like a clone commando comes back
Uh-huh.
towards the like random chunk towards the end of the season of the
Yeah.
Bad Batch. So it's like there's not a lot of repeat characters. Like
Hmm.
there are some like um uh Bane like I think his name is Cad Bane, right?
Yeah, the guy with the Woody hat. Yeah.
Yeah. He comes back for like 2 episodes. Um but like most of the story is just told for like this is what the characters are doing at the start of the Empire.
I see.
Uh,
It's very interesting.
and
Yeah.
sort of like a prequel to one of the characters from Star Wars Rebels, but
Uh,
yeah. I wonder if they'll continue the Bad Batch in like season 2
I hope so. That'd be nice.
cuz it would be interesting to see where certain characters go.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. You know.
Cuz like some of the some of the main characters for that show are interesting, but
Hmm.
like the more interesting one is I'm trying to remember what her name is. Um dang, I don't know what her name is. The one character like there's a new character introduced and she sort of tags along with the Bad Batch throughout the entire show.
Oh, okay.
Like she's more of like the character that I'm interested in seeing how their story develops if the show continues.
Yeah, it's also interesting too, because like how it's kind of difficult for Disney to have to like implement new characters because the story's kind of already been written, like because it's like still considered prequel territory, I think, right? Because how,
Ye Yes, it would
yeah,
technically it's like the start of the Empire,
mhm.
which isn't really shown in the original movies.
Yeah, it kind of stinks though. Imagine like watch. Well, I mean, obviously it's good and bad because like if you're an original watcher of the first three movies of like the original trilogy, it's awesome having that experience. But also, kind of like if you were to watch those first before watching the prequels, it's like
Yeah.
some of my favorite characters. I'm like, well, I know they're gonna die because because if they don't, if they're introduced in the prequels, but I didn't see them, before watching, the original trilogy. I'm
Like,
like, well, they kind of done
Anakin
for him.
Skywalker as Darth Vader.
Yeah, like
Like,
it's
like,
yeah,
Anakin Skywalker plays, like, a huge part, and then, like, the
yeah,
episode 3 finale fight that they have between him
yeah,
and Obi-Wan,
yeah,
it's like, I know of, like, Anakin survives this, and that
yeah.
he'll
Like you'll
eventually
know
go on
that
to kill
stuff,
Obi-Wan,
which makes
and
it
it's like
really yeah. It makes it very like interesting if you were a brand new watcher. Like I
yeah.
know our
But it's
friend,
an
yeah,
interesting, like, thing of, like, just showing, like, the events to lead towards something,
it's really
and, like,
cool. Yeah,
they brought in the Mandalorian, like, that
yeah,
technically takes place in between, this takes place, I believe, sometime,
yeah,
I'm trying to like, after the fall of the Empire, so after
yeah.
the original like, the after Luke's story is told in episodes 4, 5, and 6,
Hmm.
technically,
Yeah.
if, like, release order 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Um, if you like watch that, it takes place afterwards,
Okay.
so you get to see sort of characters from the fall of the Empire
That's really interesting.
and what characters. Some characters from the Clone Wars appear in the Mandalorian.
That's really cool.
Like, you know about Ahsoka Tano, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, she shows up there.
So I haven't actually watched season 2 of the Mandalorian. I've only seen
Yeah.
season 1,
Yeah.
but I've seen like when season 2 sort of dropped towards the end of season 2,
Mm-hmm.
you'd see it in the thumbnails, and it's like Ahsoka's there.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way.
Hey.
Even
Yeah.
though I haven't watched it, like
Yeah.
that's just it's a spoiler.
Yeah. I've always wondered though, like, yeah, because when I first watched Clone Wars, I'm like, this is character Ahsoka. What's she gonna be doing? Because like I just knew. I'm like, well, the original trilogy, she's not there. I don't know what's gonna happen. So it's cool that she's
Yeah.
still around.
It's interesting to see what they do with certain characters
Yeah.
to like figure out why these characters aren't in the original.
Yeah.
'Cause, like if you watch Star Wars Rebels,
Yeah.
like the TV show,
Yeah.
there's a character like there's a couple Jedi in the
Mm.
show,
Yeah.
but since technically during Luke's time, he's one of the very like one of the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
and since you don't see any Inquisitors, which are in the show, in the movie,
Yeah.
um, most of the Inquisitors are dealt with before like the show's ending,
Mm-hmm.
and a character that was in um the show, like one of the bad guys, gets
Yeah.
dealt with right at the end. So like technically he wouldn't appear in any of the movies.
Yeah.
Same with the main characters. Like they're all sort of dealt with in their own ways, and some of them are brought back in,
Mm-hmm.
like Phoenix Squad, which is like their squadron.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is you can see it in what is the Rebel One? I think is that Star Wars movie, right?
Oh, Rogue One. Yeah.
Rogue One. Why did I
Yeah.
say Rebel
Yeah. Well, yeah. Star Wars Rebels. It kind of it's all close.
One?
But yeah.
So those like in that you can see like their ship.
Oh, like a little like a reference or Easter egg that kind of shows, hey,
Yeah,
we're still here. We're just not gonna be like a
yeah.
big
Like
part
they're
of the
taking
movie. But
part in
yeah.
the war still.
Yeah.
And and I believe it's been confirmed by people, or at least like somebody, or at least it's a fan theory, that the really old guy at the end of Return of the Jedi
Oh, the guy with the white
is
beard and all
Rex.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's
the really old
so
guy
funny.
is Rex. And I think it's been sort of canonized by Star Wars Rebels, seeing as he's still with the Resistance and that.
That's so funny.
Like,
The
an older guy and
chances.
that because of his
Yeah.
advanced aging.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Because he's kind of old. When by I remember seeing
Well,
like
if you
clips
think
and
about it,
stuff.
he's technically really young. It's just his body is super old.
Yeah, but like yeah, like the aging process. Yeah,
Because I know, like, in the show, technically, a lot of people are like, bro, these guys are basically like 8 or like prepubescent, like
it is.
teenagers.
Yeah, it is a little weird to think about. But they don't have that kind of like their mental capacity and whatnot is much and development is much more advanced.
Like,
So it's like they don't act
yeah,
as that. But it is
yeah, they're technically
interesting.
12 years old, but they have the body of like a
Yeah.
20, like a fit 20-year-old man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That mentality and war strategy
Yeah.
of like,
For
you know,
experienced soldier, yeah. It is really funny too. Imagine being the actor, of like you just some extra, you're an extra in a Star Wars movie. Oh, cool. No, you're Captain Rex. It's like after all these years, that's so funny
listen,
to me.
did you know how many people they cast the voice of clones? Bro,
Oh
that guy is
yeah, it's like just the one
it's
guy has a
the one
huge
guy
role.
can have the same voice.
That is so funny. So who'd you play in Star Wars? I played this clone trooper, this clone trooper, this clone trooper, this clone trooper,
Oh,
and
what
I
was
was
your
also in
just
this
like
section.
what's your involvement in the Clone Wars?
Yes.
I voiced the clones.
Yeah. It's like
Which one?
yes.
I don't know. You want me to pull out a list? I
All
mean,
of them. Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah. All the
Rex.
clones.
I voiced Cody. I voiced
Yeah.
Commander Wolf.
Yeah.
Gregor. Uh,
All these guys.
Fives.
Yeah.
Echo. Heavy. All those guys. I voiced all of them. I
Yeah.
voiced the random guy who got blown up on that ship in that one episode.
And the guy that punched the droid in the first
Oh
Star
my
Wars movie.
god! In that movie,
That's
and he ran up on him and
and
clocked him in the face and
he
broke his
just
hand.
shot. It's like, oh, so funny. I that's
And
like,
then he
oh.
just screams. He gets shot in the chest.
And then the droid just moves on. It's like, okay,
Yeah, because imagine you just punched a big hunk of metal straight in the face.
Yeah, it's like when Obi-Wan kicked
Or like
Grievous.
probably broke your fingers and then
Yeah,
proceeded to just get shot in the chest.
just get one shot and then moved on. It's like, oh, okay.
Like that, like if he lived, that would have been a story to tell. Oh, I ran up on that droid and I punched him in the face.
I clocked that sucker, or scrap metal, whatever they like to say. I don't know the
Clanker.
slang, but that clanker. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. There was I don't know if you've seen the episode. What season are you on in that show? Like, are you super like early or no?
I am super early, but I did watch the
Ah,
whole movie at least. I heard the movie
I
was
was gonna-
not that well reviewed. Or, the reviews weren't as high on the
of course,
movie,
because
but
like
yeah, it's kind of like their
it was weird
beginning.
because of when it was like, I guess how it was released. Maybe I think it was released before the start of the show. I don't remember.
Yeah, I believe it
But
was like the
that's when they
beginning.
introduced
Yeah,
Ahsoka, and everyone didn't like. A lot of people don't like Ahsoka early
yeah,
on.
she was like considered more childish, right? And then she matured more as
Well, it's
she
not that she's
continued.
more childish; it's that she's like, think of like a really like Anakin. He's like really cocky.
Yeah,
Try to like multiply that and like make her like super stubborn,
oof,
and like that's how she was at the start. Like
yeah,
big ego, big stubbornness,
yeah.
and
That's
then like at the and then as the show goes on, she sort of learns from mistakes and picks up things from more than just Anakin. Thank
that's
God she
cool.
picked up.
It's not just a one dimensional. It's not a one dimensional character. It's someone that grows
Yeah.
and learns. You're not the same. That's what's really important, I think, about TV shows and movies and entertainment and
Well, if
media
you
and
write
like
a
stuff.
character at the start and then the exact same by the end,
It's
you
like,
didn't write a character. You wrote a personality.
yeah, because like it's gonna change. Like in real life, you're gonna change. I'm not the same person I was in high school. I feel like I've definitely gotten a
Yeah.
lot better. Like whether it's socially or even just academically. But I can make decisions now that are based on my experiences, and I can better plan out
Yeah.
what like decision making. And just like all aspects of my life are just much better because I've learned and grown. Just like I'm sure you have the same way. It's like, and how Ahsoka has in the show.